Hey everybody, Mrs. Johnson here. I am sitting on the floor in my children's playroom and recording this video for you guys on star cycles and the life and death of the sun. So my main goal here is to go over the 3 Sun's Life assignments. And before I do that, you'll see on my screen I'm on one of the Earth Science Google Classroom pages. And I just wanted to remind you that I'm going to scroll way down here. We've got a whole bunch of stuff starting on March 12th on stars and the sun. So you've got some good resources here for review or for helping you to complete these 3 assignments if you're still not done yet. But you've got the star cycles and the HR diagram resources. You have the star terminology assignment. That one was to get you to see the gist of some of the main terms like red giant. I'm going to keep scrolling up. You've got this tutorial video that I posted on how to use the HR diagram. And then the 3 Sun's Life assignments. Here's the first one, the second one, and more materials, star resources, YouTube channel link, and assignment number 3. So between all the things that have been posted, both resources and assignments since March 12th, we've got a lot going on regarding stars and the sun. So I'm going to click over now and start looking at the 3 assignments. So what I did, you'll see this looks like yours, but I put the answers in red. So I want to just go through each of these briefly and address some of the issues that popped up as I was looking and correcting your assignments. So with these first few questions, the sun definitely is about 4.5 billion years old. We do know that it has quite a bit of life left in it. As you saw in a future assignment, the sun is about 71 to 75% hydrogen, and that means that it's got a lot of fuel left to go. So we do know it's a main sequence star, meaning that it's fusing hydrogen into helium, and we know that it'll keep doing that and keep being that kind of star until it runs out of hydrogen. So our sun is a main sequence star. Categorizing it, it is technically called a yellow dwarf, and dwarf meaning tiny. Dwarf in this case does not mean dying, just means tiny. So that being said, our sun is small to average compared to others. It's not a large star. This comes in handy when we're trying to think about what path it would take in life. And the star cycle diagram question down here next shows you, hey, here's these paths that stars can take. Then we can use that to think about our own star. For question 5, how long would the average main sequence star live for? I saw a lot of people putting 560 billion years. And so I did a quick Google search and I typed in what you probably typed in also. How long does a main sequence star live for? And yes, there's a notification or the first hit that comes up, and it says 560 billion right in that the line that you see on the Google search. But if you click on it and you read the article, it's really not what they were saying. Stars can live on the main sequence anywhere from about 20 million up to many, many billions to trillions of years. And that's totally dependent on how big they are and how much hydrogen they have. Most main sequence stars are going to stick around the 10 to 20 billion year range. And the reason that that number is what it is because most stars are small to average in size, and small to average in size gives it a longer lifespan than millions of years, but a shorter lifespan than something that would be super tiny and super slow to burn fuel. So 10 to 20 billion years, my cat is going crazy. Don't know if you guys could hear that. Okay, so star cycle diagram. I wanted you to find one that had all of these terms, and that was a little tricky for some of you, and hopefully you went in and made those edits, but I have 2 that I found that were good. I like this one because it puts some descriptions next to each one. It has its faults because it does not include, oh no, it does include protostar. It has protostar, but it does not have black dwarf. But you can see the path here, nebula, and up here, if you follow, it goes small star path. And down here, if you follow it, it goes large star path. So you can see right away that there is a difference in the path a star will take, and it's totally based on its size, or more appropriately, its mass. I have a second diagram. I like this one. Bunch of students found this one to use. This one does not have protostar, but the stellar nursery or the nebula would then condense enough to start forming baby stars, the protostars, which are not yet fusing. And then from there, this one is a little different because it has three paths. So giant is more than 3 times the mass of the sun. Huge is 1.5 to 3 times the mass of the sun. And then sun-like is 1.5 times the mass of the sun or smaller. And so again, you can see here, I can tell right away which path we're following, and because we're smaller, we'll likely end up as a white dwarf. You can also see pretty clearly that if we're not huge or a giant, we would never go to neutron star or black hole. So as far as the questions go, these should be pretty obvious if you are looking at the diagram. Do all stars follow the same path? Absolutely not. The determining factor would be the mass, again, right here. Sun-like stars, and it relates directly to the mass. So a small star is going to go this path, whereas a bigger star is going to follow this path. And then, according to the diagram, could a medium mass star undergo a supernova? Nope, that is only something really big stars can do. D, a high mass star could never become a white dwarf. Again, a smaller star fizzles out as a white dwarf and then a black dwarf. A high mass star dies dramatically. And then the last one, the most likely path. Again, you had to follow the smaller path. Whatever diagram you had would have at least had two paths, small versus large. And because we're on the smaller side, it would go red giant, and then the outer layers would just kind of fizzle away, eventually leaving the white dwarf core behind, and then that would eventually totally die out, leaving a dead black dwarf. Um, the the thing is, using the diagram is really handy. So keep that in mind, because when it comes time for the summative, you can go back on your assignments and you can look at your diagram to help you if you need it. Okay, so that is from assignment 1.